Hi, this is Don Farber with VineyardSoft Corporation, and I'd like to welcome you to this training session on the KnowledgeSync solution. The topic for today's session will be configuring KnowledgeSync to provide crystal reports on demand. But before proceeding with today's session, we strongly recommend that you first have viewed the initial 3 training sessions on the integration of KnowledgeSync with crystal reports. Now, let's take a moment to discuss what we mean by reports on demand. KnowledgeSync has the ability to monitor the content of incoming email messages, and at the same time, KnowledgeSync has the ability to generate crystal reports. And so it is by combining these 2 areas of functionality together that you get reports on demand. The way it works is as follows. A person sends an email message to an account being monitored by KnowledgeSync, and in that email, that person requests the execution of a specific report. KnowledgeSync is configured to look for such requests within the body or the subject of an email message, and assuming KnowledgeSync sees that request, it automatically generates the requested report and emails it or otherwise delivers it back to the original requester. Let's take a look at a specific scenario. Within the Reports on Demand branch, we've got an event called Report Aged Receivables. And if we drill down into that event, we can take a look at a few of its components. First of all, you'll notice that this event does not use a traditional schedule such as hourly, daily, or weekly, but rather has a schedule whereby the event is looking for the arrival of new email messages within the KnowledgeSync email response system. Now let's take a closer look at the query associated with this event. Now when KnowledgeSync looks at the content of incoming email messages, KnowledgeSync takes a single email message and turns it into a record within a table inside the KnowledgeSync database called the inbox table. If we take a closer look at this table, we can see a number of the fields within it, such as the email address of the person who sent in the original email message, who that email was sent to, when it was sent, the date and time, and other such fields of information. If we take a closer look at this query and drill down to its filters, what we'll see is that this query is configured to look only at those incoming email messages that were received today. KnowledgeSync is looking only at those incoming email messages that were sent to a specific account that we've configured KnowledgeSync to monitor. Here at VineyardSoft, that email account name is reports@vineyardsoft.com. And then the third and final filter in this particular query is looking at the subject of the incoming email message to see if it contains a certain value. So let's now look on the event level and see what that value is that KnowledgeSync is looking for within the subject of an incoming email message. So here we are on the event level, and we're looking at the query once again as it's associated with this particular event. Notice that under the trigger parameters for this query, KnowledgeSync is looking in the subject field for a value of, in this case, AR space aging space report. Again, in the case of this event, KnowledgeSync is looking for that particular value within the subject field of an incoming email message. So now let's take a look at the rest of the event to see what it's configured to do. Well, since someone is sending in an email message requesting this AR aging report, it makes sense that that same report is here specified on the Reports tab. This event will automatically generate this AR report, and it will output it in HTML format. Let's now skip ahead a couple of tabs to the Email tab. Quite simple here. We're sending out a response email with the subject Report Requests Aged Receivables, and the message text simply reads, "Your requested report is attached," and we've been sure to check the box titled Include Reports as Email Attachments. The only item that's left is to configure this event to make sure it sends back that report to the requester, the person who sent in the original email message. And for that, we can jump over to the Subscribers tab. You'll notice that there are no standard subscribers for this event, but there is, in fact, one very important advanced subscriber. Because when KnowledgeSync monitors an incoming email message, among the fields of data that it captures is the sender's email address. And so in this particular event, we've simply configured it to automatically send back the requested report to the email address of the sender. And just to review again, this event has a schedule of when email arrives so that KnowledgeSync will look every minute for new email messages and process them appropriately. So this is a perfect example of a report on demand. Now, in this particular scenario, KnowledgeSync is looking at the content of an incoming email message, but KnowledgeSync could just as easily utilize a web form. Many organizations will set up a web form on their intranet to allow their employees to request any one of a range of different crystal reports. And KnowledgeSync supports parameters within those reports as well, so not only can a person request a report, but they can also include their specific selection criteria, such as a date range or other appropriate criteria. So that brings us to the end of this training session on how to configure KnowledgeSync reports on demand. If you'd like to receive an example of reports on demand, simply contact VineyardSoft and we will provide you with this very particular event pack containing the single event to generate and deliver the aged receivables report on demand. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we look forward to speaking with you in a future KnowledgeSync training session.